This 8-year-old boy believes the concentration camp next to his house is a farm, and the prisoners in striped pajamas are just playing a game. He is jealous, he can't join their fun, unaware that the strange smell from the chimneys is the scent of burning bodies. This is the story of a forbidden friendship that crosses the most horrific offenses, leading to a conclusion so devastating it will shatter your soul. Our story begins in 1940s Berlin, where 8-year-old Bruno lives a life of blissful ignorance. His world is a grand adventure, racing through the city streets with his friends, arms outstretched like airplanes, the unquestioned king of his small universe. He is utterly unaware of the darkness encroaching on his city, where soldiers round up families and force them onto trucks, their faces etched with a fear he cannot comprehend. While fear grips the streets, Bruno's home is a whirlwind of preparation for a grand party. Maids polish silver and lay out fine china, oblivious to the world crumbling outside their opulent walls. Bruno returns home to find his mother, Elsa, and sister, Gretel, descending the staircase in fine dresses. The air is thick with excitement. His mother announces with a bright, yet fragile, smile that his father has received a promotion. Bruno, ever the literalist, asks, "Is he?" But a shadow of uncertainty crosses his face. His mother reassures him, telling him not to worry. The other piece of news is then dropped like a bomb. They are moving to the countryside. Bruno's world shatters. He protests, his voice trembling. His father, Ralph, a man whose kindness at home masks the cold duty of his profession, tries to frame it as an adventure, like something from Bruno's beloved books. But Bruno is inconsolable. Ralph's face hardens slightly. He explains that for a soldier, life is not about choice, but about duty. He says, his voice carrying the weight of an unchallengeable order. The party is a grand affair, a sea of Nazi uniforms and forced pleasantries. Officers toast Ralph's success, their arms raised in the chilling salute. Bruno's grandmother, a woman of sharp wit and dissenting spirit, looks at her son in his new immaculate uniform. She muses, her tone laced with irony. Her words are subtle rebellion, a verbal jab at the pomp and horror her son now represents. Ralph, ever the loyal soldier, deflects. But his mother's disapproval hangs in the air, a silent condemnation of the path he has chosen. As the family leaves Berlin, Bruno's friends wave a final, sorrowful goodbye. The train clatters away, carrying him not towards an adventure, but towards an unimaginable fate. The new house is not a house, it is a concrete tomb, cold, grey, and imposing, surrounded by nothing but desolate trees, and a palpable sense of dread. Nazi flags hang limply, marking this joyless place as a domain of the Reich. Bruno's heart sinks. This is not the garden-filled paradise his parents promised. His mother, Elsa, tries to force a cheerful tone, saying, "Lovely," but her eyes betray her. She too feels the chill of this place. As Bruno sulks in his new room, unpacking with the maid, Maria, he discovers something from his window. In the distance, past the trees, he sees a fence, and behind it, small figures moving about. Maria is confused by the wasteland beyond the fence. He notes, however, that they look a bit strange. He later tells his sister, with the simple certainty of a child, that they are wearing pajamas. The mystery of the people consumes him. He confronts his father in his sterile, imposing office. Bruno pleads. His father's response is cold and dismissive. When Bruno asks why the farmers wear pajamas, a chilling transformation comes over his father. The commandant speaks to Bruno in a cold voice. The words are a poison, an attempt to normalize the unthinkable. He tells Bruno his work is to make the world a better place for him to grow up in. When Bruno asks if he can play with the children, his mother steps in. After her son leaves, Elsa confronts her husband, her voice a horrified whisper. Days turn into weeks. Bruno's life is a monotonous cycle of boredom. He is forbidden from exploring the back garden, the only place that holds any mystery. His only entertainment is a tire swing, a lonely arc against a sky often smudged with black smoke from the camp's chimneys. To build it, the arrogant Lieutenant Kotler orders a gaunt, broken man in striped pajamas to assist Bruno. This is Pavel. During one of his lonely swings, Bruno falls, gashing his knee. He cries out, expecting his mother, but it is Pavel who finds him. Pavel gently carries him to the kitchen and tends to the wound with a quiet competence. Bruno is confused. He asks if he needs a doctor, but Pavel reassures him it is not serious. Pavel's voice is soft, filled with a sorrow Bruno can't grasp. Bruno watches him quietly as he peels potatoes. The chasm of their experiences is miles wide. Just as Pavel is revealing he knows, Bruno wants to be an explorer. Elsa returns. Seeing the Jewish prisoner tending to her son's wound, her face floods with a complex mix of gratitude and terror. She quickly sends a confused Bruno to his room, alone with Pavel. She doesn't scold him. Instead, her voice is barely a whisper. It is an admission of his humanity, a dangerous act in this household. She is claiming a debt to a man her husband has declared subhuman. The children's education begins under the tutelage of her list, a man dedicated to replacing adventure stories with poisonous propaganda. He scolds Bruno for his love of knights and explorers. His teaching is a litany of anti-Semitic hate, blaming Jews for Germany's every woe. When Bruno innocently asks a question, the response is chilling. The teacher sneers, poisoning Bruno's view of the world. Gretel absorbs the propaganda, replacing her dolls with Nazi posters. But Bruno, the aspiring explorer, rejects it. He decides to do some exploring of his own. One day, he finally breaks the rules. He slips out of the house, through the woods, and makes his way towards the forbidden back of the property. He finally reaches his destination, the electric fence of the farm. And there, sitting alone in the dirt on the other side, is a boy his own age, wearing the strange striped pajamas. Bruno says, "Hello." The boy looks up. The other boy replies softly, "Shmuel." It is a name Bruno has never heard. Shmuel manages a small, sad smile. Their worlds could not be more different, yet they share a birthday. They are both 8 years old. A fragile bond forms across the wire. Bruno complains about his boredom, jealous that Shmuel gets to be with friends all day. Shmuel asks, "Playing?" Bruno points to the number on Shmuel's uniform. Shmuel's reply is flat. He indicates the number. Bruno begins visiting Shmuel secretly, bringing him food he smuggles from the house. Their conversations are a study in contrasts. Bruno talks of his important soldier father, who is admired by everyone. Shmuel talks of his father, a watchmaker, who now mends boots in the camp. When Bruno asks what they burn in the chimneys, Shmuel doesn't know. Bruno, still thinking the fence is to keep animals out, doesn't understand why Shmuel can't leave. The truth is simple and brutal. Meanwhile, the stench from the chimneys becomes impossible for Elsa to ignore. Lieutenant Kotler callously jokes, making light of the victims. The casual cruelty of his remark, combined with the rising black smoke, shatters Elsa's denial. The farm is a place of death. She confronts Ralph in a fury, screaming accusations of war and murder, her voice cracking with horror. Ralph argues, it is a vital part of building the fatherland they all desire. But Elsa is broken. She is repulsed by the monster she married. The tension in the house culminates during a tense dinner with Ralph's father. Kotler is put on the spot about his own father, who fled Germany. Ralph presses him, asking if he fulfilled his duty by reporting his father's disloyalty. The implication is clear. Loyalty to the state supersedes family. Later that evening, Pavel, serving wine, accidentally spills a glass. In a terrifying display of displaced rage, Kotler drags the old man out and beats him to death. Bruno watches in frozen horror. The family continues their dinner in chilling silence, the sound of the brutal beating just outside the door. The lines of propaganda and reality begin to blur for Bruno. His sister, now a fervent Nazi youth, tells him the Jews are vermin. His father has told him they aren't people, but Bruno knows Shmuel. He knows Pavel, and they are not evil. One day, Bruno finds Shmuel inside his house, sent to polish glasses because of his tiny fingers. It is a shocking collision of his two worlds. Bruno whispers words he has been taught, echoing the hate, enemies. Yet, seeing Shmuel's hunger, he gives him a piece of cake. This simple act of kindness is their undoing. Lieutenant Kotler storms in and finds Shmuel eating. His fury is volcanic. He turns to Bruno and demands, "Jew." Bruno looks at his friend, then at the terrifying soldier. In a moment of pure, childish fear, he betrays him. Bruno stammers, "No," and Shmuel's face crumples, a look of profound hurt that will haunt Bruno forever. Kotler drags Shmuel away, promising to teach the boy a lesson and leaving Bruno with guilt. 4 days, Shmuel does not appear at the fence. Bruno waits, his heart heavy with shame. He sees a propaganda film his father has produced, depicting the camp as a holiday resort with cafes and games. The lie is so blatant, so grotesque, it only deepens Bruno's confusion. Finally, Shmuel returns. He has a black eye, a brutal mark of Bruno's betrayal. Bruno apologizes, his voice thick with remorse. Shmuel hesitates, then nods. He lifts his hand to the wire, and Bruno presses his against it. Forgiveness is granted, their friendship sealed once more. The final act is set in motion. After his grandmother dies in a Berlin bombing, Elsa's resolve hardens. She cannot raise her children in the shadow of a death camp. Ralph finally concedes. agreeing to send her and the children to live with an aunt in Heidelberg. He will remain to complete his work. Bruno is devastated. He has to leave Shmuel. He runs to the fence to deliver the bad news. He finds Shmuel even more distressed. His father has gone missing in the camp. In this moment, a desperate plan is born. Bruno, the explorer, sees one last chance for a great adventure, and a chance to redeem himself completely. He will help Shmuel find his father, he exclaims. He proposes the unthinkable. He will sneak into the camp. Shmuel can bring him a spare set of pajamas, and Bruno, with his shorn hair, will blend in. Shmuel asks, "Are you sure?" Bruno replies, his voice firm with resolve. The next day, on the eve of his departure, Bruno says his last goodbyes. He gives his mother a final, unknowing hug. Armed with a shovel and a sandwich, he races to the fence for the last time. It isn't easy to get away, but he makes it. Shmuel is waiting with a dirty, striped uniform. As thunder rumbles in the distance, Bruno digs a hole under the wire. He sheds his clothes, his old life, and pulls on the uniform of the damned. "How do I look?" he asks, a boy playing dress, up for his own execution. He crawls under the fence, entering the world he has only observed. For the first time, the two boys stand on the same side. The reality of the camp is an immediate, visceral shock. There are no cafes, no happy children playing games, only despair, sickness, and the vacant eyes of the walking dead. Bruno is terrified. He whispers "Papa," but Shmuel's quiet desperation keeps him there. As they search a desolate hut, soldiers burst in, shouting orders. The boys are swept up in a tide of terrified men, herded out into the pouring rain. Bruno cries, "What is happening?" Shmuel, with a child's grim acceptance, replies, "Sometimes." Back at the house, the alarm is raised. Bruno is missing. Gretel finds the half-eaten sandwich and the open window. A frantic search begins. The march leads the boys and the other prisoners into a low, dark building. They are told to undress for a shower. Bruno is scared, the adventure having turned into a nightmare. He holds tight to Shmuel's hand. Outside, Ralph and his soldiers race through the woods, following Bruno's trail. They find the hole, and the small pile of clothes. The commandant's face turns to a mask of pure horror as he understands. He sprints towards the crematorium, screaming his son's name. But it is too late. The heavy steel door is bolted. Inside the dark chamber, amidst the chaos and panic, the two boys hold hands. A soldier on the roof, wearing a gas mask, pours Zyklon B crystals down a chute. The lights go out. There is only screaming, and then, silence. Elsa and Gretel arrive at the fence just as Ralph collapses, his scream a silent, guttural howl of a man who has just reaped the horror he has sown. The final shot is of a silent, empty room, filled with piles of striped pajamas, a tomb of innocence, a testament to a tragedy born from hatred, and a friendship that transcended it. Even in death,